All right, so today we're going to take a review of Friday the 19th, 2025 price action for morning session for futures, micro ES, and then micro NQ. So looking at the daily, we had a run up, here. I don't look at the daily a ton. I'm more of a short-term session trader. However, I like to see if we have any relevant fair value gaps, which we do in NQ. Nothing overly here, so I'm more prone to look at the hour charts. On the hour, what I did notice in the London session, we had almost perfect reaction off of this hourly midpoint wick that we had in there. From that, I liked these highs, those highs, and up here. We'll see as we get into the session, but we had a run down lower in London. So I was still going to look for, based on where I was, a little bit of a retracement. So we came into right about there. We came into the morning session. Like I said, London, we came down here. We had already swept those relative equal highs. We had a high here that I was waiting for it to take, and NQ, as you can see over here on the right, had gone up a little bit higher. I was assuming we were going to go after those and go after these highs. My initial thought was, I hope it can run it in the first 15-30 minutes up here, and I felt confident coming back down to this new day opening gap, that low, potentially that low, and lower. We had better relative equal lows on the NQ. So as we get to the minute chart where I usually execute on, I got into NQ before I got into ES. I ended up being in both markets. So right here with NQ, I entered about 3 minutes after open, probably a little bit earlier than I should have. Looking at hindsight, entered right about 24,766. However, we had taken out this high, and I also saw a strong move down on ES. Didn't get into that one yet because I was waiting for it to come back up into the fair value gap here. I did take NQ early. As I mentioned in the live trade execution, I do like to have pretty wide stops. So on NQ, I had 23 handles or so above this high. ES, this high over here, I had about 4 to 5 handles above. So initially getting into the trade in profit, I really thought once it got down here, it was going to clear those out and I was going to take off a partial. Did not, ran back up, slightly took out this high by less than a handle, which was fine. I had room as a buffer. So when I was up here and then we came back up in the fair value gap, I was a little bit late on the entry, but I took another one here. So I was in for 2 contracts in ES on this fair value gap. It was nice to see it come back up. It did not clear this high. NQ did clear its respective high at that same time. So we had some divergence, which isn't bad. I still felt good about going south. However, this price action was decently lethargic. Didn't have me feeling great about how quick the market was going to move. So I was less patient than I should have been. We had a strong move down. I took one contract off at the new day opening gap, another one just right underneath it as it took that low. I wasn't sure if we were just going to ping pong back and forth. Looking back in hindsight, this would have been a great target to hold on because it hit that one. Did not get down to this one. For NQ, same thing, was lethargic up in here, had come down in profit, back up, back down. So I really wasn't overly confident that we were going to be clearing out these lows. Got out in profit here, got out in profit here for another 2. Should have been more patient. That was a really good target. This was a really good target, and I thought this was too. Didn't get down to that last one, but either way, I was patient, felt good where I was going. I mean, not as patient as I should have been, but felt good where it was going. I had a lot of room on my stops above, which I liked, but lost a little patience as we got down here. Could have held on for longer, but at the end of the day, worked out in my favor. One thing to note, specifically in NQ here, we took out these relative equal lows, came off this new day opening gap from the 18th, a nice swing high, shift in market structure, went down here. That could have been a trade. I usually don't trade late morning or lunch, but the way this ran up, we had some really nice relative equal highs here. That could have been an easy target. Even though these are relative, I don't know if I would have held it for that long, but once again, it was a run up to where liquidity was. Same thing with ES. Small little swing high here. Could have taken a trade off of this order block. More importantly for me, I probably would have been looking for something that comes down to that volume imbalance. Great target here. Another good one over here. But regardless, didn't move as quick as you love to see the move, but at the end of the day, I got in, got out in profit. So that's the most important thing. Looking back, once again, for me, holding on to these trades a little bit longer, giving that the rest of my contracts to run after I take off a partial a little bit longer would have put me in a better outcome, but overall, was still a good day within the markets.